My name is Sienna Hart, and for 32 years I believed that if I worked hard enough, stayed kind enough, and loved my family enough, one day they would finally see me. I was wrong. Sometimes you can spend your entire life standing in front of the people you love, giving them everything you have, and they can still look right through you. For years, I thought my mother loved my older sister more because my sister needed more. That was the story I told myself. It was easier than admitting the truth. My sister, Madison, was beautiful, confident, outgoing, and somehow always knew exactly what to say. I was quieter. I was the girl who stayed late to clean the kitchen, the girl who remembered birthdays, the girl who called mom every Sunday, the girl who never asked for much. And maybe that was my biggest mistake. Because when you become the person who never asks for anything, people start believing you don't need anything. I learned that lesson on the morning of my 32nd birthday. I woke up before sunrise in my small apartment in Columbus, Ohio. Rain tapped softly against the window. My bedroom was dark except for the pale light coming from the street outside. I reached for my phone. There was one message from my mother. For a second, my heart lifted. Maybe she had remembered. Maybe she had written something special. I opened it. "Happy birthday, sweetheart. Don't forget Madison's dinner tonight. She has an important announcement." I stared at the screen. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, because sometimes you laugh when something hurts too much to cry. My mother hadn't forgotten my birthday. She simply hadn't remembered that it was mine. Madison's dinner was that evening. Apparently, my sister had something important to announce. I put my phone down and stared at the ceiling. For the first time in my life, I wondered what would happen if I simply didn't go. What if, just once, I didn't show up? What if I stopped being the dependable daughter? What if I chose myself? I didn't know it yet, but that birthday would become the beginning of the biggest transformation of my life. Not because my family changed, because I finally did. Growing up, Madison and I were only 2 years apart. We shared a bedroom until I was 14. She had the window side. I had the side near the closet. She always said the window side was better because she liked watching the stars. I believed her. Looking back, I realized I gave her a lot of things without even noticing. The bigger half of the closet, the last piece of cake, the front seat, the better bedroom, the attention, the excuses. But I didn't mind. Not then. Madison was always more dramatic than me. If she got a B on a test, Mom would sit with her for an hour and tell her she was capable of getting an A. If I got an A, Mom would smile and say, "That's good, sweetheart." Then she'd go help Madison with something. I didn't resent her. At least I didn't think I did. When Madison wanted dance lessons, Mom found the money. When she wanted a new phone, Dad said we'd figure it out. When she decided she wanted to study fashion, my parents helped her move to New York. When she came home 6 months later because she hated the city, nobody criticized her. They simply said, "Come home." When I wanted to study graphic design, I was told, "That's a risky career." So I went to community college while working evenings at a grocery store. I paid my own tuition. I bought my own laptop. I learned everything I could through free courses, library books, and late-night tutorials. I never complained. That became my identity. Sienna doesn't complain. Sienna can handle it. Sienna understands. Sienna is responsible. Sienna will figure it out. Those sentences followed me everywhere, and slowly, they became a cage. After college, I got a job at a small marketing agency. It wasn't glamorous. I worked long hours creating social media graphics, writing email campaigns, and designing advertisements. But I loved it. For the first time, I felt like I had found something that belonged to me. My boss noticed my work. Within 2 years, I was managing projects. I even started taking small freelance jobs on weekends. I saved every dollar I could. My dream was simple. I wanted to start my own creative business. Nothing huge. Just a small company where I could help local businesses build their brands. I told my mother about it one Sunday. She was sitting at the kitchen table sorting coupons. "That's nice," she said. "I think I could actually make a living doing it." She didn't look up. "Maybe, but don't quit your job." "I'm not planning to." "Good." Then Madison called. Mom immediately put down everything. "Oh, honey, how are you?" Her voice changed. It became softer, warmer, excited. I watched her smile as she listened to my sister talk. After 10 minutes, Mom said, "Of course we'll help." I raised my eyebrows. "Help with what?" After the call ended, I asked, What's going on? Madison wants to open a boutique. I smiled. That's great. Your father and I are going to help her with the startup money. My smile disappeared. How much? Mom hesitated. About $40,000. I thought she was joking. $40,000? She needs inventory and rent. I stared at her. Where are you getting $40,000? We've been saving. I nodded slowly. I didn't know what to say, because I had spent years believing my parents didn't have money. When my car needed repairs, they told me they couldn't help. When I needed dental work, I put it on a payment plan. When I wanted to attend a professional design conference, I skipped it because the ticket cost too much. But suddenly, there was $40,000 for Madison. I forced a smile. That's wonderful, Mom. She looked relieved. I knew you'd understand. I did understand. I just didn't understand why I never seemed to matter. Madison's boutique opened 6 months later. My mother treated it like a royal event. She helped decorate. Dad helped with the furniture. My aunt came from Pennsylvania. Cousins I hadn't seen in years attended the opening. I designed Madison's logo for free. I created her website. I photographed the store. I even made her social media content. For 3 months, I worked on her business every weekend. Not because anyone asked me to, because I wanted her to succeed. One evening, after I finished editing a dozen product photographs, Madison looked over my shoulder. This looks amazing. Thanks. You know, you should probably just work for me. I laughed. I'm trying to build my own business. She rolled her eyes. You're always talking about that. I looked at her. What do you mean? You've been saying you're going to start your own thing for years. I will. When? I didn't answer. She smiled. See? Then she said something I'll never forget. Maybe you're just not as ambitious as you think you are. I went home that night and sat in my car for 20 minutes before going inside. Her words stayed with me. Maybe she was right. Maybe I wasn't ambitious. Maybe I was simply pretending. Maybe some people were meant to build businesses, and some people were meant to work for them. I almost believed it. Until one day, something happened that changed everything. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting at my desk at work when my manager called me into his office. He closed the door. I have some bad news. My stomach tightened. The agency is restructuring. I knew what that meant. I'm sorry, Sienna. I had been laid off. Just like that. After 7 years. 7 years of loyalty. 7 years of late nights. 7 years of being the person everyone depended on. I packed my desk into a cardboard box. My coworkers hugged me. One said, "They're making a huge mistake." I smiled, but inside, I felt empty. I drove home in silence. I expected fear. Instead, I felt something strange. Relief. For the first time, I didn't have a job to hide behind. I didn't have an excuse. I had time. And maybe, just maybe, I had one chance. I opened my laptop that night. I created a blank document. At the top, I typed, Sienna Hart Creative. Then I stared at the words. My hands were shaking. I didn't have investors. I didn't have a business loan. I didn't have wealthy parents. I didn't even have enough savings to feel comfortable. But I had skills. And I had time. So I started. The first month was brutal. I created a website. I sent emails. I contacted local businesses. Most ignored me. Some rejected me. A few never responded. One restaurant owner replied. Sorry, we need someone with more experience. I stared at that sentence. More experience? I had 7 years of experience. But I wasn't going to argue. I kept going. I created packages for small businesses. Logo design, social media management, email marketing, website graphics. I offered affordable services because I remembered what it felt like to have a dream and no money. My first client was a woman named Denise who owned a small bakery. She needed a new logo. She couldn't afford much. I accepted anyway. 2 weeks later, she called me crying. People are finally noticing my business. I smiled. That's wonderful. She said, No, Sienna, you don't understand. I almost closed my bakery. I froze. She continued, Your work gave me hope. That sentence stayed with me. Maybe this wasn't just about money. Maybe my skills could actually help people. I started thinking differently. Instead of asking, how much can I make? I asked, how much value can I create? That changed everything. 6 months later, I had 12 regular clients. I still wasn't rich. I still lived in my small apartment. I still drove an old Honda. But I was paying my bills. And for the first time, I was proud of myself. Then Madison called. Sienna, I need a favor. I already knew what was coming. What happened? Covered my course. They wanted to partner with me. I read the email twice. Then I screamed. Actually screamed. My neighbor knocked on the wall. I laughed and cried at the same time. The partnership gave me access to thousands of new customers. Within a year, I had hired 4 employees, then 8, then 12. I moved into a real office. My name was on the door, Sienna Hart Creative and Education. I stood outside that door one evening after everyone had gone home. I touched the sign. I remembered the girl who had once sat at a kitchen table, watching her mother give $40,000 to her sister. I remembered the woman who had been laid off. I remembered crying in her car. I remembered every rejection. And I realized something. None of it had been wasted. Every rejection had taught me something. Every failure had forced me to learn. Every painful moment had pushed me toward a life I never would have built if everything had been easy. Then Madison came back into my life. She called one afternoon. I heard about your company. Okay. I'm proud of you. I didn't know how to respond. Thank you. She was quiet. Then she said, I closed the boutique. I'm sorry. I lost almost everything. I'm sorry. She laughed bitterly. You don't sound happy about that. I'm not. Why? Because I never wanted you to fail. Silence. Then she said, I used to think you were jealous of me. I didn't answer. Maybe I was wrong. I sat back in my chair. Madison, I was never jealous of you. You weren't? I was jealous of how easily people believed in you. She became quiet. I didn't realize. I know. She took a breath. Mom told me you refused to help me. I couldn't. I know that now. She paused. Can I tell you something? Sure. I was scared. Of what? Of failing. I frowned. She continued. Everyone always treated me like I was special, like I was supposed to be successful. When the boutique started failing, I didn't know how to admit it. I understood. For years, I thought Madison had everything because she was stronger than me. Maybe she had everything because everyone was afraid to let her fail. And maybe I became strong because I was allowed to. That thought changed the way I saw my sister. She wasn't my enemy. She was another person who had been shaped by our family. A few weeks later, Mom came to my office. She stood in the doorway. She looked nervous. I wasn't sure you'd want to see me. I smiled. Come in. She sat down. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Then she said, I owe you an apology. I looked at her. She continued, I thought because you were responsible, you didn't need me. I swallowed. I did. I know. She looked down. I gave Madison everything because I was afraid she would fail. I nodded. And I didn't realize I was teaching you that your dreams mattered less. I felt tears forming in my eyes. That hurt. I know. I'm not angry anymore. She looked at me. You're not? No. I took a breath. But forgiveness doesn't mean pretending it never happened. She nodded. I understand. Then she said something I never expected. I'm proud of you. Those 4 words were simple, but they hit me harder than anything. Because I had spent years waiting for them. I cried. Mom cried too. And for the first time, we hugged without pretending everything was perfect. My relationship with my mother didn't magically become perfect after that. Neither did my relationship with Madison. Real life isn't a movie. There are no magical conversations that erase 30 years of hurt. But things changed. We started talking honestly. I stopped hiding my feelings. Mom stopped assuming I was okay. Madison started rebuilding her life. She took a job at a clothing company. She began learning about business properly. She even enrolled in one of my courses. That made me laugh. You're paying me? She smiled. Absolutely. I shook my head. I'll give you a family discount. No. Why? Because I want to earn it. I smiled. That was the first time I saw my sister truly proud of herself. Not because someone had rescued her, because she was doing the work. 2 years after I lost my job, I was invited to speak at a women's entrepreneurship conference in Chicago. There were more than 2,000 people in the audience. I stood backstage listening to the introduction. The host said, "Please welcome entrepreneur and educator Sienna Hart." My hands shook, not from fear, from remembering. I walked onto the stage. The lights were bright. I looked across the room. Women were sitting everywhere. Some looked young, some were older, some looked confident, others looked terrified. I recognized that look. I had worn it myself. I stepped toward the microphone, and I began. For most of my life, I thought being the strong daughter meant never needing anyone. The room became quiet. I thought being responsible meant staying silent. I paused. I thought being loved meant being useful. Someone in the audience wiped her eyes. I continued, but I learned something. I looked around. Your worth is not determined by how much your family needs you. The room was silent. Your worth is not determined by whether your parents understand your dreams. I took a breath. And your worth is definitely not determined by whether someone else gets more than you. I smiled. Sometimes the person who receives the least attention becomes the person who learns to create her own light. The audience applauded, but I wasn't finished. I told them about failure. I told them about rejection. I told them about starting with almost nothing. And I told them the most important lesson I had learned. Don't wait for permission to become the person you want to be. That sentence received a standing ovation. I walked backstage crying, not because I was famous, not because my company was successful, because I knew exactly where I had started, and I knew how impossible that moment would have seemed to the old Sienna. After the speech, a young woman approached me. She looked about 25. Her hands were shaking. "Can I talk to you?" "Of course." She said, "My family doesn't believe in me." I smiled. I know how that feels. They keep telling me my dream is unrealistic. "What is your dream?" She told me. It was a small online business, nothing huge, but she loved it. I asked her, "Do you believe in it?" She hesitated. "I think so." "Then start." "But what if I fail?" I smiled. "You probably will." She looked shocked. I laughed. "Everyone fails," I told them, "and if my family laughs, learn from it." She looked at me. "And if my family laughs? Let them. And if they don't support me? Build anyway." She nodded. Then she asked, "How did you do it?" I thought for a moment. Then I answered, "I stopped waiting for people to believe in me." She smiled. "Thank you." As she walked away, I realized something. Maybe my story wasn't really about my family. Maybe it was about becoming the person I had been waiting for someone else to become for me. Today, my company helps thousands of small business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs. We provide affordable education. We offer scholarships. And every year, we give free training to women who can't afford professional courses. I started that scholarship because I remember what it felt like to have a dream and wonder if money would stop me. I never want another woman to think she has to give up simply because she wasn't born into the right circumstances. Sometimes people ask me, "What's the secret to your success?" They expect me to talk about strategy, marketing, money, networking, technology, and yes, those things matter. But the biggest lesson I learned was much simpler. You have to believe that your life is worth investing in, even when nobody else does. Especially then, my mother still calls me every Sunday. Now she asks about my business. She asks how I'm doing. She asks what I'm working on. Sometimes we talk for 2 hours. Sometimes we argue. Sometimes we laugh. We're still learning how to be a family. But now I'm not trying to earn her love. That's the difference. I don't need to prove that I'm successful. I don't need to show her how much money I make. I don't need her to compare me with Madison. I don't need anyone's permission. I finally understand that love and approval are not the same thing. Someone can love you and still fail to understand you. Someone can care about you and still make mistakes that hurt you. And sometimes, forgiveness means accepting that people may never give you the exact apology you wanted. You forgive because you don't want their mistakes to control the rest of your life. If you're listening to my story and you feel like the forgotten daughter, I want you to hear this. Maybe you're the one everyone expects to be strong. Maybe you're the one who always helps. Maybe your brother gets the attention. Maybe your sister gets the opportunities. Maybe your parents don't understand your dream. Maybe you've been told you're not practical enough, not talented enough, not smart enough, not successful enough. Maybe you've started believing them. Please don't. You don't need to become successful to prove them wrong. Become successful because you deserve to discover what you're capable of. And success doesn't have to mean becoming rich. It can mean becoming educated, It can mean becoming financially independent. It can mean leaving a toxic environment. It can mean learning a new skill. It can mean starting a small business. It can mean going back to school at 40. It can mean saying no without feeling guilty. It can mean waking up one morning and realizing you finally like the person looking back at you in the mirror. Success is personal. Don't let somebody else define it for you. There is one more thing I want to tell you. Don't confuse being needed with being loved. For years, I thought my family loved me because they always needed me. They needed me to help Madison. They needed me to solve problems. They needed me to be responsible. They needed me to stay calm. They needed me to sacrifice. But being needed isn't the same as being valued. If someone only appreciates you when you're useful, that's not the kind of love you should build your identity around. You are valuable when you're resting. You're valuable when you're learning. You're valuable when you're failing. You're valuable when you're starting over. You're valuable when you have nothing to give. Never forget that. I also learned not to make permanent decisions during temporary pain. When I was laid off, I thought my life was over. It wasn't. It was beginning. When my family didn't support my dream, I thought I wasn't good enough. I was wrong. When my first business idea failed, I thought I wasn't meant to be an entrepreneur. I was wrong again. Failure isn't always a dead end. Sometimes it's a redirection. Sometimes the door that closes is the door that forces you to build your own. That's what happened to me. I didn't walk away from my family because I hated them. I walked away from the version of myself that was constantly begging to be chosen. And once I stopped doing that, I finally chose myself. 3 years after that birthday, when my mother forgot to wish me properly, I celebrated my 35th birthday differently. I didn't wait for anyone. I rented a cabin near a lake. I invited a few close friends. I cooked dinner. We laughed. We played music. At midnight, I walked outside alone. The lake was completely still. The sky was filled with stars. I remembered the little girl who once slept on the side of a bedroom near the closet because her sister wanted the window. I smiled. I thought about how many times I had made myself smaller so someone else could feel bigger. Then I whispered, "Not anymore." I looked at the stars, and for the first time, I didn't feel like the forgotten daughter. I felt like Sienna, just Sienna, a woman who had survived disappointment, a woman who had learned, a woman who had failed, a woman who had started again, a woman who had built something from nothing, and most importantly, a woman who had finally learned that she didn't have to be chosen by anyone else. She could choose herself. If I could go back and talk to the younger version of me, I wouldn't tell her that everything would become successful. I wouldn't promise her money. I wouldn't promise her that her family would eventually understand. I wouldn't promise that life would become easy. I'd tell her something better. I'd tell her, "You're going to be okay. You're going to cry. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to fail. You're going to start again. And one day, you're going to realize that the life you were afraid to build is the life you were always meant to have." I'd tell her to stop comparing herself to Madison. I'd tell her that someone else's success doesn't make hers smaller. I'd tell her that her quiet personality isn't a weakness. I'd tell her that kindness doesn't mean allowing people to use her. I'd tell her that boundaries aren't cruelty. I'd tell her that saying no doesn't make her selfish. And I'd tell her that she doesn't have to earn love by being useful. She is already worthy. She always was. My mother gave my sister everything. For a long time, I thought that meant she had taken something away from me. But now I see it differently. My mother gave Madison the support she thought Madison needed. And without meaning to, she gave me something else. She gave me the opportunity to discover my own strength. I wouldn't recommend pain as a path to growth. I wouldn't tell anyone they need to be rejected to become successful. But when pain comes, we have a choice. We can let it define us, or we can let it teach us. I chose the second, and that choice changed my life. So if you're listening right now and you're standing at the beginning of your own journey, remember this: you don't need everyone to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself enough to take the first step. You don't need a perfect plan. You need the courage to begin. You don't need thousands of dollars. Start with what you have. Learn what you don't know. Ask questions. Practice. Make mistakes. Try again. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. And never assume that because someone received more than you, they are more valuable than you. Your story is your own. Your timeline is your own. Your dream is your own. And your life is yours. Protect it. Build it. Learn from it. And never be ashamed to start over. Because sometimes walking away from what keeps you small is the first step toward becoming who you were meant to be. My name is Sienna Hart. For years, I thought I was the daughter who got less. Today, I realize I wasn't given less. I was simply given a different beginning. And I wouldn't trade the woman I became for anything. If this story reached your heart, remember one thing. Don't spend your whole life waiting for someone else to choose you. Choose yourself. Start today. Learn something. Take one small step. And tomorrow, take another. Your life can change slowly, then suddenly, and one day, you may look back and realize that the moment you thought was breaking you was actually the moment you began becoming unstoppable. If my story meant something to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're on your own journey right now, stay with us, because there are still dreams inside you that deserve a chance. And sometimes, all it takes to change your life is one decision. The decision to finally believe, I am worth choosing too.